part of the reason that I really wanted to be here is I'm very passionate about dialogue. I'm very passionate about how we have conversations and how we engage in them. And where that started for me was really looking at how I identify myself. What is my identity? What are the various aspects of myself that I want to be able to share with other people, but really get to know what those are in order for me to have conversations with others, make friends with other people, and have intelligent conversations. And so when you think about the things that make you who you are, what are they? Can you give me some?
My family.
Family. What else?
Work.
Culture. Passions, yeah.
Where you're from.
Where you're from. Spirituality. All really, really good ones, and many, many more. And so when we think about our family, our culture, our perhaps religion, spirituality, all of those things make up the way that we hold friendships, create friendships, and build community. And so self-identity becomes our social identity, or those different groups and communities that we belong to through our education systems, through our family, through our community, perhaps sports. If you're a Chargers fan, that's a whole other community, right? Yeah. And so our social identity is created from the very different facets of our life that we belong in. So all of us here, many of you are drinking beer. That's one way that we can socially identify with other people. And so each of you, as you were wandering around, checking out the raffle, checking out what you wanted to do, were participating in dialogue around different kinds of conversations. Whether it was the beer, whether it was the raffle, whether it was just typical things that you were experiencing today. But our social identity is something that is really important in how we construct ourselves and how we show up with others. And in order for us to really be able to express ourselves, we want to be able to make sure that it's clear. So for me, the way that I think about my identity is the things that matter most to me, the things that I think about on a regular basis, that I also want to be able to go and meet other people who think about those things on a regular basis. And oftentimes, we don't get to find too many places for that, right? We live in a world right now that is very contentious with the political debates that are going on, the way that we have ostracized ourselves from different political factions. And so that has really changed the way that people engage in conversation. They don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't know about you, but I don't even want to turn on the news because it's so contentious. And that's the real significant difference about dialogue and debate is about this thing about I'm right and you're wrong, and I really have to wait for you to stop talking so I can tell you how wrong you are. I probably didn't even give a chance to listen to what you were actually saying. I just needed to make sure that you knew that I was right and you were wrong. That's not how I engage in conversation. Dialogue is something about inquiry. It's the way that we ask questions of ourselves, the way that we ask questions of others, so that we can get to know one another on a much, much deeper level. What are the things that matter to us? How do I want to show up in those conversations? Who do I want to be with that might still have a different viewpoint, but is willing to listen to what it is that I have to say, is willing to ask questions so that they can get to know at a much deeper level, why do I think that way? Why do I feel this way about a certain situation? That's where dialogue comes into play. This is an opportunity for us to engage in a space that's really about asking questions. Not necessarily with asking a question, getting an answer, but ask a question that might invite another question, that might invite another question. And so that's how we start to create knowledge collectively, is we pay attention to the things that matter, we ask questions about the things that matter, and we engage with other people about the things that may not necessarily matter to me, but if it matters to you, I might want to know more about it. I want to be able to get to know people on a level that offers you to me. Ultimately, you are my mirror. So the way that I project my identity is how I'm also going to see you. And so it's an opportunity for us to get to know one another on a much, much deeper level, to the things that matter. And so part of the reason I was really excited to come here and talk about it is with the work that Axel and his group is doing with Thought Lounge, is we don't get to see these kinds of opportunities that often. You know, we come to places like this and we're socializing and we're having a good time, but we're not talking about these real deep, deep conversations, right? It's typically not what you want to do when you're going out and enjoying beer. For me, I actually enjoy philosophical conversations. It's some of the most fun times that I have with my friends. But the beauty that Thought Lounge offers is these real spaces for authentic dialogue. these real opportunities for people to practice having different kinds of conversations so that we get past the surface level stuff, right? Because that's not really who we are. The stuff that's on the surface when you're having simple conversations, sometimes that doesn't really afford us the opportunity to get down to who Roxanne is. Who am I being in the world? What are the things that I'm grappling with? What are the things that bother me that I want to be able to talk about or get to know more about? And who are some of the people that I might be able to engage that are experts in that? Believe it or not, every single one of you is an expert in something that you probably are very, very passionate about talking about. But we don't create space for that. We watch TV. We stare at our cell phones. We create identity in social media that may necessarily not be us and who we are when you are in a physical space, but it's the way that we have created identity. So the beauty of what Thought Lounge offers is an opportunity to have those deeper thinking conversations. How can we collectively start making changes in the world if we're not creating spaces for that conversation? Now, I'm a fan of social media. I'm probably on Facebook every day. Just started building up my Twitter, so shameless plug, you can follow me. And that really is another place for us to have different kinds of conversations, but it is different when you're engaged with someone across a table, in the same room, really getting to know that person and asking questions that really matter. Really getting to the heart of what really matters in this community. What matters to you about the people that you surround yourself with? What matters to you with the people in your family, the people that you work with, the students that you take classes with? What does it take for us to get to an authentic place? It takes vulnerability. It takes opening up, right? It takes the simple thing of just saying, you know what, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that, but I want to know. So may I ask questions? What can I provide to you that's going to help you have a better sense of who I am in the world? And so Thought Lounge creates those opportunities for students. Truthfully, I wish we could actually take that down to a much younger level. I feel like if we taught people how to actually communicate in elementary school, we'd be at a much different place now. If we taught people how to think about identity development and identity construction at a much younger level, we wouldn't be as crazy as we probably are as adults. Just my thought. Just my thought. I've had some really powerful conversations with 10-year-olds. 12-year-olds who are just so completely authentic because they're not blocked by these, obstacles that we as adults have created for ourselves. Because we're just not sure if other people want to see us that way, so we kind of just hide it. Thought Lounge and dialogue matters. Our thoughts matter, but not just internally to us. It matters when you are able to share that with the people who matter most to you, because that's what allows for that deeper connection, the deeper understanding, and starts to build a different kind of character, a collective community around conversation, around dialogue, where we can start to pay more attention to the people who love us and affords us the opportunity to love them more. So that's what I have to offer you. And thank you so much for the work that you do, and I'm very excited to hear more from Axel. And if you have questions for me later, I'll be here.